Do all of you in the room work with merchant services, or is it more broader? Like, because my perspective is in the bank is y'all wear tons of different hats. That's still the case? And you probably sell whatever the biggest spiff is at the time. It happens to the big banks too, man. I make more money off of this than I ever do merchant services. I get more off a card than I do this. So, is merchant services part of a regular conversation with y'all?
It is at our bank. We try to have it every time we open a new account or meet a customer.
Do you all look at them, your inbound DDA or inbound ACH files to see if customers are doing good?
We do. We actually target some customers to find out, like, if they're accepting card payments, like if it's not finance description in the transaction data, we will pull data to find out.
That's good. I like that. I always like that. I go, it's always been this weird dichotomy of the thing that bills the demand deposit account is the merchant services account. Why the hell would you ever let somebody else talk to your customer? And everybody goes, but they're using an ISO. They're not going to go away. But I'm like, but you have no insight to what's going on in their business. And when the guy that sits in front of you says, my terminal's broke, you went with Charlie. I can't do anything with it. And to me, I've always been a huge advocate of that's what builds your demand deposit account, right? Keep it in your bank. What about the rest of y'all? Active conversations around merchant services? No? We're starting to see the growth of in-home businesses, right? I'm starting my own little business. Do all of you have a lot of little small startups in your banks? Do all of you refer those out to Stripe and Square? It's funny, ISOs, and I had this when I was at TSYS. Our reps said if it was a startup and it was too small, they didn't want to take the risk. So they push it out to Stripe, and please don't do that. Okay. So not as many business customers. Okay, that's fair. It's a fair statement. What about the rest of you? Tell me about merchant service. Active in your banks? Not? Okay. Why not?
That's we have conversations when it's handed to us. But that's really what I'm here for, is to figure out how the team can have those conversations to develop some additional business.
Good. Yeah, no, here's what I would tell you, having been in the space as long as I have. It's a continual process with your team, right? Because we'll always gravitate back to the lowest common denominator, what we're getting paid for. Or if we wear too many hats, it's the fundamental problem with the community bank. We're wearing too many hats to be able to do it. So it's literally constantly having that reminder, constantly remembering to ask the question and setting down. But also too getting the staff comfortable with, and Ron, we should think about this, the 4 or 5 key questions you have to ask. Now, you don't have to be an expert in merchant services, but just the 4 or 5 questions to ask them about what it is. And please, Lord have mercy, don't say, hey, just give me your statement from the other provider. We provide low rates and great customer service. Because everybody does that, right? Don't make it about it's a low cost game. Make it more about how it integrates in with the rest of the services that you all offer in your bank. And we'll sit down and think about it, and then we just pick our brains about what would that be beneficial? Those 4 or 5.
I was going to ask you what they are right now.
Yeah, it's funny. I literally, the key questions for me is why do people use cards in your store? Why is it important to you in your store? Is there demand for it, right? If they're not accepting, what's the average price of your goods? If you had to pay cash and check, what would you sell those for versus if you went cards, right?
One of the selling tools that we've used to merchants, maybe to Jay's merchants, where they're not taking cards right now, they're worried about fraud, so it's a different story. And restaurants maybe don't fall into that category, but you look at a retail environment. By accepting electronic payments, your average transaction goes up 15%. All right, so $15 for every $100. You bring that into the holidays, it's another 10%. So now we're picking up $25 between November and January 1, simply because I'm taking electronic payments. The offside of that is, okay, fraud, I got fees. we pulled a study, I don't remember, Mike, I don't know if you remember where you grabbed it, the old McDonald's study. And the dollar amounts a little outdated because I hear things have gone up in the marketplace recently. But the idea was a cash transaction at McDonald's was, let's say it was $5. All right. And the average cash transaction, average credit card transaction was $7.50. So that proved our point. That's actually a bigger jump than what we would see in the retail store. And you say, yeah, but there's still fees associated with that. And even on that small transaction, the difference, and I'm just going to round because I don't remember the math, but let's say the fee for that $7.50 transaction was 25 cents, 30 cents. We still picked up over $2 in revenue because we were using payments. You know, we put that into our traditional merchant, looking at it and saying, okay, that $100 transaction, $2.50 now for that $125 transaction. I picked up $22 because I'm doing it. So those are the value adds to the customer, why I'm doing it. All the safety, all the security, you know, the enhancements, those kind of things. You know, when we look at the markets that you can be in as an online business, you know, for all of us in a community bank world, it doesn't matter what my widget was. It could have been the best thing in the world. But if I'm just a brick and mortar, how good does it have to be to get Ron to drive from Youngstown to Millersburg, to Columbus, right, to buy that? If I'm selling it online, I could be in my pajamas 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, I've had that widget before. I'm going to buy it. So it's legitimizing the business, expanding the marketplace. Those
There's
are the
one
things.
more point that you have there, which is, do you know what your competitors are doing? Are your competitors accepting cards? And how many customers did you not gain? Right? Retail is not a rocket science business. It's give me a net new customer, give me a current customer spending more and more frequently, right? And so if somebody's shopping at your competitor, it could be product, right? It could be acceptance types, right? But why would you forego somebody coming into your store if their preferred way to pay is by card? Is the one thing to be able to think about it. And when you talk about the future of payments, it's going to be interesting to watch the expansion of, not in our lifetime, not in our kids' lifetime, maybe my daughter's kids, is how crypto will start to prevail and what that will become, and other alternate payment types. I think that's important to give you that, because that consistency of having that message and making sure the staff does it and that they don't go off will keep that it just becomes the state, not stated, right? You can state that, hey, we're going to go out and sell merchant services, but in 30 days they go back to what's the easiest thing? Just go through the process of opening the demand deposit account.